Alright, so today we have another unboxing video, this time of what I believe is a Greek Kylix. Now, a Kylix is just a unusual looking drinking cup, actually. Typically for wines and stuff, sometimes they are offered as libations, sometimes the entire vessel was sacrificed. Guess this was not the right side to open because these are also glued. But that'll be alright. So I always like recycled packaging. That's what I use because it's cutting down on waste. There's no reason to use branded packaging for eBay or whatever site you're selling on. It's just more environmentally sensible to use the packaging that's already existing at stores. You go to the store, you say, hey, can I take some of the packaging? Typically it's going to be in the morning or evening. Don't want to litter. I think most people actually hate these. I think a lot of people who like these are kids, but kids are going to eat them. Carefully get this out without having all of these blow to the four corners of the earth. There we go. Nice amount of bubble wrap. It's been taped so it can't fall out of the bubble wrap. It does not look like they wrapped it in paper, which is what I would have done, because the problem with plastic-based stuff like this is that due to high humidity, and today is very high humidity, wearing wool is not the best choice. But anyway, the problem with plastics is they will sometimes adhere to the surface of the vessel, and then they will pull away the surface layers of the vessel. So you'll lose pigment, you'll lose the clay, just stuff like that. So I always like to wrap in paper. Paper is less likely to adhere, and if it does, well, water, which really is not that harmful for most pottery, will take it off. Okay. Where the tape ends. Oh, they used the good tape. This is the stuff that doesn't unstick. I guess I need the knife. One thing I will spend up on is tape for shipping. Some of the tape just does not want to stick, even if the surface of whatever you're taping is clean. Oh, more tape. Back to the handy dandy knife. Now, since I don't have a meat cleaver, this is actually what I use in the kitchen for stuff that really needs a heavy duty knife. Which is usually just spaghetti squash. Which I prefer over regular spaghetti noodles, I will say that. Now the problem with too much tape, is which we're seeing here, is that too much tape can actually hurt your ability to get the product out, which makes it more likely to damage the product. So when you're shipping to your buyers, don't over tape. It just makes it impossible to get it out. There was one item, I almost had to take an angle grinder with the cutoff wheel attachment to it to get it out. It just did not want to come out. But that item was also shipped from Asia, and it was ancient pottery. And I'd say the item was about that big, and the box was that big, with nothing but rolls of bubble wrap taped around it, with probably half a roll of tape. And I'm talking about the big packing tape. But anyway, I think we're through the tape layer, so no more commentary on that. Keep that box from blowing away. Oh, let's get closer. Pick up a cup of... Okay. Ready for the big reveal? You shoot. No flies allowed. Dun da da da. Well, the good news is the surface is very stable. I don't see the black pigment, none of the clay particles, particulates laying in the bubble wrap. So that is an excellent sign for the stability of this piece, which it's sticky. I wonder if has conservation adhesive on it. That would make sense. Also why it's not flaking. But anyway, this piece would be over 2,000 years old, presumably. We're talking, I don't know, 400 years before Christ, maybe. But this is an ancient Greek Kylix, so this is primarily for drinking wine. Now here I have water, which we are going to use actually for testing on an inconspicuous area. It does have a slightly earthy smell like this. So one of the things ancient pottery is that it will have an earthy smell when wet in most cases. Now, sometimes it'll have it when dry, not always, but that smell can be faked, and usually the indicator of it being faked is when it's both wet or dry, it smells like that. Let's see if it increases when I apply water. Of course, we have the wind wafting it away, but I have a pretty strong sniffer. Oh, it definitely increased it. So another test we can do is the flick test. Let's make sure it's not going to crack. Because, for example, I see a crack in both handles. I don't know if you'll be able to see this. Focus here. No, my camera it's a phone. So it's not going to be good enough to focus. But I don't see a crack, so I don't know if you can hear that. Let me try over here. But that is not a high-pitched ring. That is more of a dull thud. And the dull thud is exactly what we're looking for in pottery that's not super high-fired. So the ancient kilns, yeah, they got extremely hot. They could melt glass. However, they were not as high-fired and perfected of a system as our modern kilns. So that's always a good sign. Now, it is rather high, but it's also Greek. So they had kind of perfected the system by then. Now, another thing we're looking for is provenance. And this tag is for Royal Athena galleries, which are now out of business for smuggling illegal antiquities into the US. However, this is also still a type of provenance, and Royal Athena was technically a reputable source. Not reputable for getting it here legally, but reputable for getting genuine ancient objects. So, while provenance can be faked, I'm sure we could ask them to look up their records to show pictures of this particular item that they had dealt in New York. But overall, I am quite confident that this Kylix is genuine. Now, I'm not going to drink out of it. Yeah, I'm drinking out of a 160-some-year-old cup here, but that's also the age of my house. But the ancients would have drank out of this, and I'm going to guess they held it just like this. However, we should not be holding ancient pottery by the handles. You should always hold it from the base, because these handles, as I've already explained, have a crack in it, plus that tends to be the weakest point. Now, another thing is, some people will say, well, why aren't you wearing gloves? A lot of the latest museums will no longer wear gloves because the microfibers on the fabric are actually ripping off portions of the clay and the pigments and stuff. So now it's proper form to just have extremely clean, degreased hands. So my hands are clean, other than making some coffee this morning. This is the first thing I've been doing. Well, also getting dressed. So we are going to support it at multiple points, always at least 2 strong points, preferably 3. But never just hold it like that, never display it hanging like that. It's not your grandmother's teacup hanging from her kitchen. that approximately 2,500-year-old Greek wine cup known as a Kylix, which was misdescribed as an oil lamp. So I'm thrilled. I got it for a great price. It seems to be entirely authentic. A lot of these losses are more modern. Actually, you can see that right in there. Focus. You can see the thumbprint, or another finger, of the potter who made this. So that's always a wonderful, nice touch of continuity between eras and cultures. So time and space is transcended not only by the artifact itself, but by seeing a piece of the maker in that artifact. Now, if we really wanted to go for looking for authenticity, we would do a thermoluminescence test. We would chemically analyze the pigments and do all sorts of other expensive things that I can't afford, because even though it might seem like I'm rich being able to afford this ancient pottery, I'm really not. I mean, at 50 bucks, it's not exactly breaking the bank. Technically it was. I did only have $8 left in my account after that, but that's just me. So I hope you enjoy.